السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله. انتجبه لولايته واختصه برسالته وأكرمه بالنبوة أمينًا على غيبه ورحمة للعالمين. وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. أوصيكم عباد الله بتقوى الله. The theme of the last 2 weeks in the khutbahs have been taqwa, and we will inshallah continue with that theme, keeping in mind that this week was also the week of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali bin Abi Talib alayhi salatu wa salam, who is also known as Imam al-Muttaqeen. And I would like to seize that spirit of this month and the opportunity to talk about the demands of being a Shia of Ali. What does it mean to be a Shia of Ali? And I would like to explain that in perspective of 2 famous titles of Ali. In the first khutbah, let us look at the first very famous title of Ali, which is Amir al-Mu'mineen, the chief of the believers, or the leader of those who have the faith. This is basically the theological dimension of our link to Amir al-Mu'mineen. When we say Amir al-Mu'mineen, it means the leader of the believers. Basically, this is the identity that we have as the Muslims who follow the path of Ali. Normally we call ourselves Shi'atu Ali, or a Shia Muslim. Because if you look at the issue is that, why was Ali not known as Amir al-Muslimin? You don't hear his title in that way. He is always known as Amir al-Mu'mineen. Because there is a big difference between the level of Islam and the level of Iman. Islam is the Zahir. Islam is there, what is there on our tongues. When somebody says, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadun Rasulullah, that is Islam. Verbally, anyone makes that confession. As Muslims, we don't have a choice but to accept that person as a Muslim. But then we have to realize Islam can be there, but Iman would still be absent. In Surah Hujarat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking about some of the Bedouins who had come into the city of Medina. Their motives of accepting this new religion was something else. And so when they came to the Prophet and they said, Amanna, we have Iman. And so we deserve zakat, give it to us now. That was immediately following that. That was the main reason. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you see, there are actually 2, 3 examples in the Quran where the Prophet was in a way more polite. And Allah would say, Muhammad, let me do your talking here. You're being very polite with people. And so the ayat comes in and says, O Muhammad, say to this Arab, that do not say Amanna, do not say we have Iman. Tell them the most they can say is Aslamna. We have accepted Islam. Why? Lamma yadkhul al-Iman fi qulubikum. Say to them that Iman has not yet entered your hearts. So Islam is here and Iman is down here. And this is the difference between the two levels. Islam is good enough for us in this dunya. But if we really want to gain salvation in the hereafter, Islam is not sufficient. What we need is Iman. And so for us just to say we are al-Muslim is not sufficient. We have to say we are al-Muslim al-Mu'min. But how do you say you are al-Muslim al-Mu'min? One way of explaining and identifying ourselves is saying that we are al-Muslim al-Shi'i. When you say al-Muslim al-Shi'i or al-Muslim al-Mu'min, it's actually one and the same. Salawat pढ़ने एक बार आओ. Because Iman is based on love. And love have different dimensions. Of course, the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the foundation. The love for Rasul is there. And then comes to the wila and love for Ali and Ali. This concept of wilayat in the meaning of love is a universally accepted, concept by all Muslims, whether it is Shias on one hand or the Wahhabis on the other hand. At least on the books it's there. That, to love Ahlul Bayt is part of our deen. Let me just go to one hadith of the Prophet where the issue of Iman is being linked to the love of Ali. Imam Muslim in his Sahih Muslim, Tirmizi in his Sunan, as well as Ibn Majah in his Sunan. These are the three prominent, compilers of hadith from As-Sahih Sitta, where they caught the Prophet saying to Ali, Ya Ali, la yuhibbuka illa mu'min wa la yubghiduka illa munafiq. O Ali, no one shall love you but somebody who is a mu'min. And no one will hate you but somebody who is a munafiq. Islam, the opposite of that is kufr. Iman, the opposite of that is nifaq. And Rasulullah puts there a criteria. If you really want to see the proof of Iman of a person, you have to look at the wila and the love of Ali in the heart of that person. And if it is there, that person is a mu'min. And so when we say al-Muslim al-Mu'min, we are actually saying al-Muslim al-Shi'i. Salawat pढ़ने एक बार आओ. Some of the Sahaba like Abdullah ibn Abbas and Abu Sa'id al-Khudri and others, during their own days, they used to say, "Ma kunna na'rifu al-munafiqin illa bi bughdihim aliyan." For us to identify who is a munafiq or not, we used to see whether he has bughz and hatred towards Ali or not. Now remember, the hatred is one thing, and not knowing Ali is something else. I always emphasize this point, that some of our people go to this area, they do not even know what is haqq and what is batil. To hate Ali is one thing. Not to believe in him as the first Khalifa bila fasl is something else. Hatred is something else. Not knowing them or not understanding them the way they are is something else. Do not confuse one with the other. Salawat. Ali himself in Nahl al-Balagha saying number 42, he says, about this statement of Rasulullah, he says, لو ضربت خيشوم المؤمن بسيف حاضة على أن يبغضني ما بغضني. He says, this issue of love and hatred towards me is so strong that even if I cut the nose of a mu'min, and rightfully so, I have a right, for example, in a situation, I cut off his nose. If he's a true mu'min, even if I cut off his nose, he will not hate me. And the other opposite, وَلَوْ سَبَبْتُ الدُّنْيَا بِجَمَّاتِهَا عَلَى الْمُنَافِقِ عَلَى أَنْ يُحِبَّنِي مَا أَحَبَّنِي. And when it comes to a munafiq, even if I, shower the whole world with its wealth at his feet, he is not going to love me. And so this issue of hub and bughz of Ali becomes a criteria, and that becomes a mark of identity for us. Let us thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has, included us among those who are the true followers of Ali bin Abi Talib. And let us pray that we may, continue and have this wala and love to the last moment of our life, inshallah. إن أحسن الحديث كتاب الله العزيز بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحليم الكريم غافر الذنب وقابل التوبة وهو الغفور الرحيم سبحان من سبقت رحمته غضبه وبسط اليدين بالرحمة سبحان من لم يكلف نفسا إلا دون وسعها وعفى عن السيئات ولم يجاز بها ونشهد أن لا إله إلا هو العطوف للعباد بجوده والعواد على المذنبين بحلمه ونشهد أن محمدا نبيه وحبيبه صلى الله عليه وآله الداعين إلى سبيل الله بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة قادة الأمم وأولياء النعمة ومعدن الرحمة أوصيكم عباد الله بالتوبة ما سلف من ذنوبكم. So the first title of Ali is Amir al-Mu'mineen, and that is how we identify ourselves on a theological level. We relate ourselves and we identify our beliefs based on the love for Ali, because he is the leader of the believers. But then what are the implications of that? And that is where we had to look at the other title, Imam al-Muttaqeen. He is the leader of those who are muttaqeen, those who have taqwa, those who try their best to follow the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So while the affiliation of Ali on the level of Iman is a theological issue, our affiliation with Ali on the level of Imam al-Muttaqeen is a matter of practice. And both are linked to one another. When we talk about Imam al-Muttaqeen, it means that we have to try to be among those who are muttaqeen. Otherwise, Ali is Imam of whom? He's not Imam al-Fusaq, na'uzu billah. He is Imam al-Muttaqeen, and we have to try to be included in the list of those who are muttaqeen. So any discussion sometimes we hear, here and there, although that concept is dying down now, that as long as you have this hub of Ali, it doesn't matter what you do. Whoever says that, on whatever mimbar or podium or whatever dress or appearance that person has, either he doesn't know Ali or he doesn't recognize Ali as Imam al-Muttaqeen. If he recognizes Ali as Imam al-Muttaqeen, then he knows that we have to be among those who are the people of taqwa. When we look at this concept, yes, amal and good deeds without the wala and love of Ahlul Bayt, there is no assurance that it will be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The love for Ali gives us that ability that when we do good deeds, it will reach to the level of being worthy of acceptance by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this issue of Imam al-Mu'min, Amir al-Mu'minin and Imam al-Muttaqeen are very well linked to one another. Let me end with the example the theme I ended with last week in the khutbah about the issue of libas al-taqwa and the example of addiction to alcohol. There was a person during the Khilafat of Amir al-Mu'mineen, a prominent member from one of the Yemeni tribes, and they were known to be the loyal supporters of Ali. And this one individual was very talented in poetry and composed, very moving poetry in support of Ali in Siffin. His name was Al-Najashi. Al-Najashi, who was the poet of that time. But he had a problem when it came to practice. One day he was caught drunk in the month of Ramadan in Kufa. Just think about it. Number one, drunk, that he was publicly caught. Number two, in the month of Ramadan. They brought him to Ali. He was put in a kind of a prison until he sobers. And then the issue came up that, he was drunk. Everybody saw him. There was no issue of, bringing evidence and this and that. The punishment implemented by the order of Ali to somebody who was known to be a supporter, a strong supporter of Ali, was 80 lashes for drinking. Then Amir al-Mu'min said, still keeping in the prison, bring him tomorrow. And then 20 more lashes were administered on him. This is where he couldn't take it. He said, Ali, those 80 I know, that's the law. I was drunk. This 20 for what? Remember the words of Ali, that if I cut the nose of a mu'min, he will still not hate me. If I heap the whole wealth of dunya at the feet of a munafiq, so that he may love me, he will not. He said, this 20 lashes, I cannot take it. Why? And this is where Ali says, that is for violating the hurmat and sanctity of the month of Ramadan. 80 yes for drunkenness. 20 more because you did that in the daytime, in the month of Ramadan. You publicly violated the sanctity of Shahrullah. And he was still so upset with this issue, he decided to abandon Ali and go to the camp of Muawiyah. Ended up there. Started using his talent now against Ali, composing poetry there in support of Muawiyah against Ali. Some of the companions of Ali came to him and they said, he's a talented person, useful to us, to boost the morale of our people, just give him something, bring him back. That is the world politics. Ali doesn't believe in that. He said, no, if he has gone there, I'd rather not have him in my camp. And so when we talk about Imam al-Muttaqeen, remember, that is how Ali looks at us. Don't expect that just low, without action. No, they go hand in hand. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that our Rasul say to the Ummah, In kuntum tuhibbun Allah fattabi'uni. If you really love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then follow me. The concept of loving Allah and following the Rasul are combined. Yuhibbukum Allah. And if you do that, Allah in return will love you. Love of a human being towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the love of Allah for the human being is linked with ittiba', which means obedience to Rasul and after Rasul to the Imams. And that is the essence of this concept of love that we have in the Shia madhab. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq to be among the true followers of Islam, the Prophet, the Quran, and the Ahlul Bayt alayhimu salatu wassalam. Salawat. اللهم صل على سيد المرسلين وشفيع المذنبين نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وآله. وعلى إمام المتقين وأمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب صلوات الله عليه. وعلى سيدة نساء العالمين سيدتنا فاطمة بنت رسول الله صلوات الله عليها. وعلى سيد الشباب أهل الجنة الحسن المجتبى والحسين الشهيد بكربلاء عليهم الصلاة والسلام. والأئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي عليهم الصلاة والسلام. اللهم صل على مولانا الحجة بن الحسن صاحب العصر والزمان. باحي آثار البدء والطغيان هادم أمنية الشرك والنفاق حاسد فور البغي والشقاق صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آبائه الكرام ما اتصلت الليالي والأيام. اللهم عجل فرج وصح المخرج واكحل ناظرنا بنظرة منا إليه واجعلنا من المستشهدين بين يديه. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا. ربنا ولا تحمل علينا عسرنا كما حملت على الذين من قبلنا. ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. اللهم اجعلنا ممن يذكر فتنفعه الذكرى. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اللهم صل على محمد.